for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Confirmation from a source that sources to be anonymous that Bryson Barnes is the starting quarterback currently under Bronco.
Yes. To be clear.
But that not just that he's loving the Bronco Mendenhall era so far. So that's good.
That feels
good
to
news.
me like the perfect fit, quarterback to coach.
Well, think about what he's just coming from. What's he coming from? Devin Dampier. What were his skill sets? Really hard.
Dual threat.
Yes. Like, has insane legs on top of the fact that he's also a quarterback. And so if you're in a spot where you feel like you can do something, I know he doesn't have the same offensive coordinator because he's at Utah now, but yeah. So Bronco Mendenhall already having some fans up there at Utah State in the quarterback room. Listen, that's a guy who just wins wherever he goes. You can say whatever you want about Bronco. Wherever he goes, he wins.
His system works, absolutely. Kevin McGivern, by the way, the offensive coordinator at Utah State.
There you go. Where's he out of? Where'd they get him from?
I think it was San Jose State.
San Jose State. Yeah, he
guy?
was working for Coach Ken.
So
Kevin McGivern's from Utah County.
Okay.
So he's had multiple stops in this state as a coordinator and position coach.
Awesome. Hey, our program brought to you by G2G Bars, by the way. The protein bar that doesn't quit. Give it a shot. It's local. They make it here. Their factory's here in Orem, and they are blowing up across the country. You can find them in Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and many other places in the refrigerated section because they're dang fresh. So give it a shot for yourself. Let's kick off this hour. Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's chat some Utah Jazz. That's where we're going to kick things off right here.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, your local trusted financial fiduciaries in retirement, 899-7600, or their website, TrajanWealth.com. This was a wild one for me to see this morning, and I saw some people talking about it, and I went, okay, hold on a minute. The all 59 draft picks projected for ESPN in this NBA draft, and you immediately start to scroll down and go, okay, what's this going to look like here? And inside the discussion of whether or not the Utah Jazz are going to take Con Knipple or maybe you see even Trey Johnson, who I know a lot of people. Trey Johnson's high on your list, right?
Oh yeah. I think there's three guys that they should consider.
You
at 5.
You like Trey Johnson. I like Con Knipple. ESPN has Jeremiah Fears, who I would not have put on the list, but fine, whatever. Point guard out of Oklahoma, just what you need. Another short point guard coming into the system. Sorry, that's not me. I'm not trying to be mean here, but was Jeremiah Fears one of your three guys?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not.
So Trey Johnson, Con Knipple, that's who you and I have kind of. I have, and it was from draft night when Ben Anderson said, "Here's why I like Con Knipple." I'm sold. I'm like, okay, give him to me then. Bring him here. And he's said multiple times, Ben has, that he's going to be one of the best shooters in the league. And then you're like, okay.
He is the best shooter in the draft.
If you can do something with that then, if you can get a guy who's the best shooter in the draft, then why don't you take him? I don't know. But either way, what was also discussed was the possibility of Lauri Markkanen. And Lauri Markkanen not being a member of this Utah Jazz specifically, as they start to wonder about what the long-term status of Markkanen is going to be, here's what the write-up is. A two-time All-Star who would have been an active if it would have been an active market, the Jazz were open to trading him. Going from the NBA's worst record to the number 5 pick is a stern reminder of the pitfalls of trying to rebuild. It's unclear how the Jazz are going to do it. Now, the thing about Lauri Markkanen is, what was also brought up was the idea that he could be traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for the number 3 draft, for that number 3 spot in the draft. How on earth is that a good thing, JJ?
Hey, it's not possible unless you find somebody on their roster that has the money to match, and I'm not sure you're trading Lauri Markkanen for Paul George, right?
That's what this report says.
Paul George?
It says teams around the NBA believe they may try and target Kevin Durant or Lauri Markkanen to move off of Paul George's contract specifically.
Okay, out of those two, out of Kevin Durant and Lauri Markkanen, and you're the 76ers, which one do you want right now?
Lauri Markkanen.
I mean, Kevin Durant's how old now?
38?
37?
36? How old is he?
We're looking at Christian. We're like, you better Google this. I'd say he's 36, so he's a year younger than Steph even, right?
Yeah.
He's going into year 13 in the league, and that's a lot, but he's still one of the best, like, ever, right? Aren't we looking at that guy? Is he a top 50 guy in the NBA?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
oh, yeah.
But we're talking about different eras now, right? We're talking about something different here. And
Durant is in his 17th, just played his 17th year.
He was drafted in 2007.
Oh, sorry. He was a young. He played 1 year at Texas, right?
Yeah, correct.
Gets drafted.
He's a 15-time All-Star.
Gets drafted by.
Don't get Misty in here.
Sorry. Seattle Supersonics. Gets drafted by the Seattle Supersonics.
Rest in peace.
And, no, look, he played for the Seattle Supersonics franchise. Took him to the Western Conference Finals, remember? Yeah, as a Thunder. So Lauri Markkanen or Kevin Durant for Paul George and the number 3 pick. There's no way they'd try to do that, right? There's no way Danny and Ryan and Justin Zanuck try to do that, right, JJ?
How bad do they want to move up to 3?
There's no way that it's a benefit.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that deal.
Paul George, by the way, how old is he? How old is Paul freaking George?
Same age, right? 36,
Yeah.
37?
He's in that same.
I mean, he's going to be. Yeah, okay, but he's going to be making something like what? Some crazy number
It's like
at age
52 million
37.
a year, something like that. Oh my god,
Dude's needs to just go do a podcast. I think he's done.
He is doing the podcast. He's already there. Fine. Now, in addition to that, in terms of things that you could see happen for this Utah Jazz team in the draft, Jake and Ben had NBA draft analysts from Hoops HQ, Kristen Peak, on the program today. Here's what she said. Take away from this what you will. Maybe a bit of pandering to the BYU crowd. I don't know. But here's what it sounded like this morning when she was talking about that number 5 pick.
There's still some great options there. You hear the name Trey Johnson, Jeremiah Fears as a point guard. I also, I'm going to shout out Egor Demin. He is kind of creeping up at the right moment. His pro day in Chicago was incredible. And you want to talk about a player that the Jazz have had ample time to watch and over at BYU and kind of over scout. I mean, it would not surprise me at all if he's at play at 5.
Don't you dare do that to me. Don't you dare tell me that Egor Demin's better than we thought. Now, here's what's crazy. He had a great combine, right, from what you guys are telling me. Awesome combine by Egor Demin. Is that a shock? This is a guy who measures well. He's a legit 6'9". He's long. He has all these tools. He has all this potential, which is really what you do in the draft now, right? Everything's about what kind of skills could we make this guy turn into. He's got soft hands. He's got crazy eyes to be able to pass. And everybody loves this guy's vision. As a guy who's been playing, here's the other thing. He's been playing basically professional ball since he was, 15? I mean, he's at the highest level in Spain at the age of 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
Living on his own, by the way,
right.
At 15, 16 years old. Was it Travis Hansen who told us that he had his, 16th birthday in his apartment in the Canary Islands, by himself? You know? There's some maturity there that you don't necessarily get in the league, and everybody who, has intersected with Egor Demin sees that he's turning heads with a strong combine. However, is that an aggressive reach by this front office if they were to try to get Egor Demin at number 5, JJ? Do you look at that and say, that's too much?
That's a reach. There's too many good players on the board that have greater star potential. You might have an Ace Bailey. You might have a VJ Edgecombe. You might have a Trey Johnson. Now, if you get to, talking about a Con Knipple, who I think is a good player, but there's his NBA skill. He's an elite shooter. Okay, he does that one great thing. we're talking about 5-tool guys, like guys that do a number of things well.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys that can shoot it, that are on the rim, that can rebound. Like they all have things that can do multiple things, the guys I mentioned. Yegor, 6'9.5" with the shoes off, by the way. Crazy measurements.
So he's really
had a great combine. I
6'10",
get it.
6'11",
I
yeah.
understand it. But it just feels like at number 5, that would be a reach. I don't know that Yegor, I would place him ahead of those other guys I just mentioned. Now, if the Jazz were not getting one of those 3 guys I mentioned, and then you get into that Common Malawach, Kon Knipple,
Just
some of
name
those
off
other
all
guys,
the Duke players.
some of those other guys, and you could
yeah.
probably make a case for Yegor that high. Now, if the Jazz don't actually think that, Trey Johnson or Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe, whoever falls to them at 5, is that great of a player, and they want to trade back and get Yegor, we can have a different conversation. But did you just tank to get Yegor? And are we okay with that?
That would feel really bad.
Are we okay with that?
Need I remind you?
Do you feel like you found a franchise player in Egor Demin if you tanked this year for that?
I'm not trying to be mean about it because I think he'll have a great career. But I wonder, one of the, I don't know. You tell me when guys come to the league, like, do they learn to shoot? You know what I mean? Do guys learn to shoot? I don't know. Egor Demin shot 26.5% from 3 at BYU. Not exactly the clip that you'd want from a guy shooting at the college three-point line and then ask him to convert that into something into the NBA. By the way, he didn't play very good defense either. And he turned the ball over quite often. So these are all things that you could say, hey, that's correctable. Of course
I love Egor. Don't get me wrong. BYU fan, don't get upset with me by saying this. Egor is going to be a great pro.
You should hear the stuff he says about Egor off the air, BYU fans.
Okay. Can you take Egor at number 5 ahead of those names I mentioned? I don't think you can.
That's a tough ask. Yeah. Look,
I'm fall back in the draft or figure something out. That's great. Or find a way to move up from 21 to go get Egor at 10 or 12. I don't think anyone expects Egor to be the 5th pick in the draft.
You know what's going to happen, though?
But hey, if you think he's the guy, and you go ahead and pick him because that's the guy you think is going to be the man.
You know how
you're going to have to live with that.
You know how the front office executives are, too? If a guy falls in love with a dude, like they'll bend over backwards to get him, right?
And it's kind of weird because obviously Danny Ainge and Ryan Smith and their connection to BYU.
But that would make it to
they
where they should
have
actually
a relationship with Egor.
But that means that they would actually see a little bit better, maybe. Like they were able to scout him all year, in a way, right? How many games were Danny Ainge and Ryan Smith at down BYU?
Kind of my point is you spend so much time with the kid and you love him so much as a person that it affects your evaluation.
I can see that. So the other way around.
Right.
Not to go, hey, he had a great combine. Because executives will go, I love that guy at the combine. The other folks who watched him all year long would go, yeah, I can't take him at 5 with the downside of things of the turnover machine that he can be sometimes, the bad shooting from long distance that he can be. And I get it. I will say 6'9.5" with shoes off is basically 6'11", right? We're talking a guy who's 6'11" essentially, and somebody in Chicago probably fell in love with that dude during the combine. And I think if they would have fallen in love with him, he would have already been a part of that discussion. I don't think the Jazz are going to take him at 5. But we've seen crazier things happen, right? And you know how it is too. Right before the draft, you start to see the PR and the GM talk, and some of it is misdirection. Some of it is just you start to see guys pick up momentum.
Yeah.
In weird ways. Sometimes you don't know how. Ask the NFL how that works. The NFL, you'll suddenly start to hear some stuff that you'll have the Laramie Tunsil, video start rolling around, and people go, I don't know about taking him number 1 overall anymore, right? You have this trending thing.
By the way, he's gone on to have a great NFL
career. He was going to be a slam dunk pick. He's an O-lineman. He was like the freak athlete at O-line, but you couldn't take the hit, pardon the pun, on taking that guy with the weed mask. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah.
The gas mask weed incident? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that's Egor Demin. Obviously not. What I'm saying is that you have stuff that starts to come up for why teams suddenly love a guy to where they suddenly don't like a guy, right? Why is it that Why is it that you're seeing a lot of people go, oh, Ace Bailey? I don't know. Suddenly now he's not the number 3 guy. Is it just because he measured? I mean, he put himself down at 6'10", and he was 6'7.5", or 6'7.25" or whatever. Egor Demin was listed all year long at like 6'8", 6'9", and it turns out with his shoes off, he's 6'8" or 6'9.5". Now, it might also be because he's freaking 18 years old, like just turned 18 this year, and he's really young. I don't know. It's just as funny to me to watch the back and forth about what people think about these teams and what is actually going to happen. I don't know. But for me, I'm just so sick of taking a guy and going, I think we can develop him. Man, it's been so hard. That's such a hard thing to try to do.
Right.
That's what they've done with their top pick the last 2 drafts, right?
Taylor
Hendricks and then Cody Williams.
Let's bring a guy in and let's make it happen. And I'm not going to say that Cody Williams
we
is
haven't
a bust.
seen Taylor because of the injury, and Cody Williams' first year was not good.
Great. And I told Christian this before the show. I was like, you can kind of look over that because they ended up overperforming at 29 and 31 with those picks, right?
Yeah.
Flip and Isaiah Collier
Got made up for it. You had 3 stabs at it. I think you got it right out 2 out of 3.
Great.
And maybe, let's hope Cody Williams can figure it out next year, but at the very least, you got value at 29 and 32 that you rarely get.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you, Christian. So is Ben still on the Con Knippel bandwagon?
Ben was out today, but I'm sure he is. He has been, as you said, ever since the draft lottery. He's
been a big Con Knippel fan.
Yeah.
Does Jake kind of just go, well, I've seen too many of these to think that I could make any kind of look? And
pretty much, yeah.
So who knows how this thing goes? Executives get wild hair sometimes. And they can, like you said, JJ, one of the things that Danny Ainge is known for is his elite level of being able to scout guys.
Yes, he's very good. He watches a lot of film. He is a master at that.
I don't think Danny Ainge gets sold on, the personality side of things, and the owner doesn't make the pick. I really do think. I mean, there are owners who will, Matt Ishbia, will make things on their roster happen because they're the owner. I don't think that's Ryan Smith's vibe. I think that he does really. The way that he got Danny Ainge here was to tell him, you get the control, right?
Yeah.
And so he and Justin Zanuck put their heads together.
He's going to trust Danny and Justin to do their job.
So let him do it. I don't think Egor Demin's the guy at number 5.
Can't be at 5. Now, if something changes with their draft position, then we have a different conversation.
If he's
Not
available, if he's available at 21, steal of a deal.
Oh my gosh. Now that's see that how the conversation changes?
Then suddenly it's a massive. Then suddenly we're talking about value.
There's no way he's there at 21.
So you start ripping him at 5, and then you start praising him at 21. Oh, number 5 pick. He can't shoot where Beans turns the ball over all the time. 21. Love his length.
Best pass from the draft.
Oh man, he's got eyes in the back of his head. I've never seen something like this. He's such a pro.
It's like Magic Johnson at point guard.
I know that these are the things that we talk about. This is how we act with the draft. And with the combine and all these things, we can get totally fooled. By the way, how many guys at the NFL level have great combines and then end up being not very good pros? A lot. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. When we return, let's get ourselves. Speaking of the NFL, let's get to the NFL Blitz. I've got some. We already broke the news earlier, but we'll bring it up again. Fred Warner gets a new deal. We'll tell you exactly what those numbers look like and much more. The Tush Push is going to be up for a vote by owners. We're going to take that. We'll take a look at that as well. So stay here, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.